I'm Geoff Nemnich.
And I'm Rick Paillet.
And we're the hosts of The Last Stand. Coyote hunting is my passion.
And coyote calls are my livelihood.
And together we aim to bring you the best predator hunting tips, tricks, and tactics, right down to The Last Stand.
The Last Stand, presented by Lucky Duck Predator Calls. We are the masters of deception. Swagger Bipods. Shoot with confidence, shoot with swagger. OnX Hunt. Know where you stand. Hornady. Accurate, deadly, dependable.
So we're back in the Sandhills in Nebraska. It's middle of February. I'm heading out to hunt with a good buddy of mine, Matt Hebert. All the ranchers around here are getting close to calving season. A few have started already. A bunch are probably 2 or 3 weeks out. So we're hoping to kill off some coyotes and thin some coyotes out on a few of these places before calves start hitting the ground. We look at the forecast and they're calling for maybe an inch of snow, 20% chance if not. We head out, snow's starting to fall, and we think, okay, you know, it's only a matter of time before the snow quits and we're gonna be able to see and have visibility and not have to worry about snow building up in our scopes and scopes fogging up and icing up. But as the day goes on, the snow just keeps falling, and before we know it, there's 8 or 10 inches of snow on the ground. It's just a pain right now trying to see, trying to get scopes clear. Not real ideal, but we're picking our way along here. We got a big, huge hill off to our left, full of you know, cuts and yuccas and things. Plenty of places where there could be a coyote bedded up. Off to our right, we got a big cedar tree row. In these kind of conditions, you just never know out in this country. There, you know, could easily be a coyote laid up in that. And then out straight in front of us, maybe about 800 yards, is a big lake bed with some rushes and things like that. So I'm going to start the standoff with Psycho Serenade, and then I'm going to roll into maybe just some Lucky Pecker a little bit, and then I'm going to get after it with some pup distresses, like Schoolyard Brawl, a Sig Kicking Ass, and I'm going to really, you know, stretch the volume out on the Revolt and make sure we cover this whole valley and get a coyote coming. Got a single coyote coming from the cedars. This coyote's on a great path here. We're just going to let him keep coming right up here. Just not getting tunnel vision here. Gonna see if we got a second one maybe coming here. Gonna let him come right up here. Wind's good, we're tucked in good here. Go, I'm gonna kill him. I think he sees us. God damn. Got a little greedy on him. We should have killed him right when he stopped, but I thought we were tucked in good enough, but I think the snow is enough snow cover here that we're sticking out a little bit more than I thought. But he was only down there about 125 when he stopped. But a little patience there. Had to shoot him trotting off, but we got our first coyote, man. Mangy sucker, but we're on the board. So I sent Matt back to get the truck. He's gonna drive around and we're gonna walk out and get this coyote. But I just picked up the call right here. Kind of want to point out our setup a little bit. You know, we were tucked into that side hill. You know, there's a little bit of vegetation to help break up our outline, a little bit of darkness on that white hill. I thought we were tucked in well enough, but that coyote got to about 125 and he wasn't looking at the call anymore. He was looking back up at us, and I had already moved my gun right at the call, so I didn't want to move. I knew it wasn't a big deal, that he was probably, if he did spook out, he would go out there. I thought he was going to stop, and after I gave him about 100 yards of trotting, I realized that he probably wasn't going to stop, so held it out a couple feet in front of him. He was probably 200 yards out there trotting when I got him on the first one, but I got him a little far back and I had to shoot him again trotting as he was trying to get away. But is he buried with snow already?
Pretty much.
Buried him head first into the snow. It's a little farther than I thought. Let's see how far that is. Yeah, 225. He's a beauty. He's a beauty. Big old coyote. Big male coyote. He was coming to the fights. Ugh. He's a stanky one. So we're continuing to look for cover, areas where these coyotes are going to be laid up, you know, out of this wind, out of this snow. And we come across this big sand hill with a lot of cuts, and one particular deep cut that kind of ran up the middle of it. So we got set up. Once again, not an ideal setup. We didn't have a whole lot of cover to sit by. Solid white with snow. Snow's still coming down hard. I like to go with some Lucky Pecker, and it's just a few minutes in, and Matt spots a coyote coming out of the draw at 200-300 yards.
Right in the valley, see him? Coming right down the valley, Sean. He's all yours, buddy. Kill him when you can.
The coyote gets to a point where it wants to see, you know, what it is that's making that sound in this little saddle. And at that point, we could have shot that coyote, and I was proud of Matt because he was a little more patient than a lot of people are, and gave that coyote a chance to come to the call. The coyote kind of checked everything out, saw the call. I turned the decoy on the revolt, and the coyote made a beeline down for the call, and it was really cool to watch that coyote kind of plowing through 8 or 10 inches of powdered snow.
There we go. Baby. It's only been just a couple minutes. It's been a couple minutes. This coyote was laid up in those hills. I'm gonna switch to some pup distress real quick here. Perfect example of why I walked the call, clear out 50, 60 yards like I did. Kind of sucked that coyote down into that bowl, and it wasn't until he got right down in here about 80 yards he looked up and saw us. He checked up. Matt was on him, ready to kill him. Textbook right there.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's it's snowing enough now where you better have a good beat on where they're at. Oh, he's already.
Can't tell it's under snow.
You know, it snowed a lot when the snow is deeper than the coyote laying there. You better pay attention to where you drop these suckers, or we might be out here sniffing around trying to find him. But just a good looking coyote, I think. It looked like a, oh yeah, look at that nice white coyote right there. I mean, that's like, when you talk about sandhill coyotes, that's what you're looking for. I mean, bright white, nice hackles. You know, this coyote looks like he hasn't been rubbed yet a little bit. Little young female. Good shoot, man.
Thanks.
She looked pretty, bouncing through the snow like that.
Snow just snow plowing through it.
So the snow's finally letting up, but we decide, you know, let's go find some cows. And we decided to make about a 15 or 20 mile run up to another ranch that Matt had lined up. And we end up picking up his buddy Will. And very first stand we get on, the snow kind of is letting up, the sun's coming out a little bit. And I'm kind of going back to the progression earlier in the day. You know, it seemed like that last coyote we called in, you know, liked Lucky Pecker, so that's what I elected to go with. And it's not just a minute or two in, way up on the top of the hill, we noticed the first coyote skylining himself.
Still standing there. Well, there's one to the right. I got at least one coming hard down this valley, to the right of the valley a little bit. There he is. Might be. Okay, the other one's coming too behind him. I'm gonna try to get a pup distress going when it comes time to killing this one. Yep. I'm killing her. The other one disappeared behind the dippy. She should be coming. Oh, he's really on. He's going.
Even suppressed, sometimes the second coyote still runs for his life and you don't get any shots off at him.
You know, I want to talk a little bit about these swaggers real quick because we're sitting on this side hill like this, and the coyote had me pegged. I thought the coyote was going to make his way right down this bottom, so I had actually moved, and he ended up showing up to the left, and he was looking right at us. So I was kind of waiting for him to make a move before I moved, and sure enough, he knew that second coyote was there, and he turned and looked hard back, and that's when I swung and got on that coyote and shot him. But sometimes on these side hills, especially when it's frozen ground like this, there's a little feature to these swaggers that a lot of people don't know of. You can actually pop this little rubber cap off, and you have steel spikes underneath there that'll stick into the ground and keep your your swaggers from sliding out on you. But yeah, these will just, the rubber cap will just pop back on there, so you can use rubber cap or the steel post, whatever you decide to use. So we're kind of working our way through the ranch with Will. Matt hasn't hunted a whole lot. I had never hunted it before, so we're kind of using the intel from Will and a little bit of what Matt knew about the place to try to, pick our way through there and find the best stands, using the wind and the sun and everything like that. And we make 4 or 5 blank stands. We end up bumping a few coyotes, which happens out in this big country when you're just kind of off-roading it, going from stand to stand. So the sun's setting fast on us, but I think we have time to make 2 stands. So Will tells us about this little spot. We get in there and we get set up, and my plan is to only call for about 8 or 9 minutes. And that gives us time to get back to the truck and drive another 5 or 10 minutes to the last stand of the day potentially. So as we're making this stand, we get to about that 8-9 minute mark, and I glass the hillside. I don't see anything coming, so I give the all clear signal, and we all start to get up, and almost instantaneously we spot a pair of coyotes that came over the hill out there about 300 yards at the exact same time that we all decided to stand up. So we try to crouch back down and get set back up. One of the coyotes, I think, made us out. That coyote wasn't really having anything to do with us. She started, or he started bailing off to the side, but one coyote still was giving us a pretty good look. So I got the call fired back up and went to some, I believe it was some baby cottontail demise, and that kind of got his attention. The coyote started making his way towards us, and at that point I realized that coyote didn't see us. The second coyote had circled around and was sitting on the skyline about 350 yards, just kind of watching this all unfold. 275. See him right there in that saddle, Sean? This one's coming. Are you on him?
And sure enough, he came up there just picture perfect, stopped, gave me a nice chest on shot, and you know, we were able to close out the day with a coyote on the last stand.
That's a big old woolly sucker. Big dark coyote. You don't get them that dark around here. You know, I mean, we saw a little bit of everything today. Snowed on us till probably almost 2 o'clock. We were able to kill a few coyotes, which is good. You know, then the sun came out and it got nice temperature drops. We thought, you know, we'd get into them this afternoon, and we ended up bumping a few coyotes. We actually were on a group of 6 coyotes. We just couldn't get them to break, and we hustled over here to the last stand of the day, and kind of was a little debacle at the end, but luckily only the female, I think, saw us. The male didn't. We were able to switch up a few little sounds and get it from 275 down to about, I don't know, 150 or so, and got him killed. But thanks for hauling me around today, bud.
Yeah.
Always fun hunting with you. 5 coyote, you know, we got another coyote off camera today. I mean, a 5 coyote day, man, that's a good day any time of year, especially late like this. These coyotes in this country have been persecuted now for 4 or 5 months, man. I mean, this coyote's probably a $50, $60 coyote, maybe more, you know, at least a month ago. So everybody's been out after them, so you can't complain about a 5 coyote day.